a.m. on the dot, and you're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. And we'll be switching gears now, quite literally, to the world of motorsport, a world of speed, precision, and intense competition. And today, we have a young talent who's making his mark on the international stage. At just age 15, Ghazi Motlekar has already carved out an impressive path in racing, moving from karting to single seaters and training in Italy under the prestigious IM4 Academy. Ghazi, originally from here in South Africa, is not just chasing podiums. He's carrying the dreams of a continent with him and is inspired by legendary Ayrton Senna. He combines talent, discipline, and an unshakable faith to navigate the demanding world of motorsport. And as we are deep into the month of Ramadan, I will also talk to him about how he balances faith with the physical demands of racing, the sacrifices he and his family have made, and his ultimate goal of one day reaching Formula One. Ghazi, welcome to News and Views on Salam Media. It's great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm great, man. We were just talking before we went live about how we interviewed you when I think you were just 11 years old. You just
Yeah.
started with go karting. How has that journey been? I'm sure it has been incredible. Yeah, now an M4 racer. Just break it down for us how the couple of years have been for you, and also what drew you to racing. I spoke about how as people of color, particularly the sports that we mostly focus on are the physical ones, whether it's rugby or cricket or football, but F1 racing, not that much.
Um, yeah. I mean, racing in general is super demanding. You have to train as much as possible, and it's just an extremely physical sport. And I first got drawn into it like any other boy would, who just wants to drive a car, wants to go fast. So on my eighth birthday, when I went karting, I knew from that moment this is what I want to do. And I knew when it started to get serious, that's when I stopped doing normal school and started doing homeschool and online. So that's when I knew that this is my career path and this is what I'm gonna go through.
Mm, mm. Talk to us a bit about the transition from karting to single seaters. What's the difference, and what has that journey been like? And what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
I mean, the biggest difference obviously is the speed. You go from a car that's going maximum 120 kilometers per hour to then a modified, souped up car in a way that can go 220 kilometers. So
Whoa.
yeah, it's quite a big step, but I was ready for it because I train as much as possible, as intensely as possible, just to be physically and mentally ready. So that's all you can do is just try to prepare yourself as best you can.
And when it comes to now moving countries, you and your family are in Italy now. One of the havens of F1 racing. So many legends coming from that part of the world. Adapting to that new environment where racing, F1 racing is seen as one of the national sports. Essentially,
Mm,
is that big
yeah.
out there? How's that transition been for you, and how has adapting been like?
I mean, it's been for me quite a smooth transition because not everyone sees the behind the scenes. So my mom works very hard, my dad works very hard in trying to keep everything in order and try to make my transition, whatever it might be, as smooth as possible. So I mean, everybody that wants to go through whatever discipline it might be, whether it be rally or F1, they all have to start in karting. And the karting hub is in Italy. That's where all the biggest teams are. That's where all drivers can be developed to their max potential karting wise. So I would say moving to Europe has been one of the best decisions in my professional career.
And speaking of, development and being in that space where you're literally being nurtured into F1 ultimately. You've recently joined the IM4 Academy. What does this mean for your career, and how does it feel to be the academy's first driver? You're one of their marquee signings, if I can put it that way.
You know, it's it's for me. I'm extremely grateful for them to have put their trust in me and my talent. And what the future might hold, I don't know. We'll have to see.
And if there's one thing I've always been asking myself, right? I'm following you on Twitter, doing some research, and I think we've been following you for quite some time here on Salam Media. Is you you seem to rep two countries, South Africa and Mozambique. Which one is it exactly? Can we own you? Are you the ultimate South African F1 driver, or are you gonna be representing our neighbors there in Mozambique?
I'm everything. My dad is from South Africa. I was
Yeah.
raised and born in South Africa, but my mom is Mozambican. So I'm South African, but I drive under the Mozambican flag.
Ah, come on, Ghazi. We want to see you and go no RSA hashtag just DNA, but
Come on, you
but
have
it's
to
fine.
support the whole of Africa. Come on.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Mozambique is just here, just past the Kruger. We're
Yeah,
fine.
just there.
We are currently in the month of Ramadan, right?
Yeah,
How more demanding is it? To and most people don't realize this, that F1 and racing is quite a demanding sport physically.
yeah.
They think you just sit behind the wheel and you just drive, but physically it takes a big toll. How different is it to race during the month of Ramadan? Is it any different? Do you feel different physically? Because I've spoken to a lot of athletes, but most of them are like, in the other different sporting codes like rugby, cricket, and soccer.
Yeah.
And they all say the same thing, that physically and mentally they feel more sharp, they feel more focused. Is it the same with you?
Um, I say you got me with that question there because I go to a gym no, 5 times a week for four
Whoa.
hours, and then on top of that, I have to go and drive. So I don't fast as much as I should, but I do try.
And ultimately, just your faith in general, being a Muslim driver, that does it play a big impact? Do you see yourself, tapping into your spirituality, when you try to psych yourself up for a big race, or maybe when you lose and things don't necessarily go your way? Do you see yourself finding inspiration in your faith and praying and just finding something deeper that you can tap into to motivate you?
Yeah, I mean, in my everyday life, I always try to tackle every obstacle with honesty and good intentions, and to just be truthful, because that's just who I am.
Mm. And I think that's ultimately what you can do, man.
Yeah.
It's really important to tap into that aspect. Um, you've been inspired by Ayrton Senna, one of the greatest racing legends. What lessons from Senna's career do you apply to your own racing game and how you go about doing things?
Um, I look up to Ayrton Senna because I love the way he tackles his obstacles. He's always confident in himself. I love his work ethic because people might not realize, but in Formula One, you can lose at least 4 kilos in a span of what, an hour 45, 2 hours.
Mm,
So you always have to work as hard as possible, and that's what I strive to. I'm a perfectionist. I try to do everything as good as I can, and I can't do that if I'm unfit.
mm, mm, mm. And we've just entered into 2025. What's going to be happening this year? What are some of the biggest moments that you're waiting for that all South Africans should be keeping a close and keen eye on?
um you know I like playing my cards close to my chest. So, you know, what the future might hold, we don't know. But for sure, it's going to be exciting future. It's going to
Mm,
be very productive as well.
And just lastly, before I let you go, any final words for young aspiring F1 drivers, kids here in South Africa, in Mozambique that have just recently started their go karting journeys? They want to see themselves, driving F1, driving F4, being
Mm.
where you are. What can you say to them?
All I can say is you have to be honest with yourself and be realistic and work hard. You know, this sport is not a sport where you can think with emotions. As cruel as that might sound, you
Mm,
can't think with emotions, because when you have to make a split-second decision and emotions get involved, it can't end up in a good way. So you have to think always with your head and only with your head, and don't take anything personally, because this is not a sport where if you're driving at 200 kilometers per hour, you can't be thinking, oh, I might hurt this guy's feelings, or he's not gonna like. You can't have those thoughts in your head. So all I say is be truthful with yourself and use your head, not your heart.
There you go. I think we're going to leave it there, Ghazi. Thank you so much for chatting to us. Wish you all the best. And we must try to talk to your dad to twist your arm into racing under the South African flag.
If you want to try and convince someone, it's definitely my mom. Everything goes through my mom.
We'll try and talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghazi, thank you so much, man. Wish you all
Thank
the
you very
best and
much.
all the best for the future.
Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day.
There you go. That was Ghazi Motlekar coming to us from Milan. A definite prospect, in the world of Formula One racing. And hopefully, yeah, man, I'm a bit touched that he's not flying under the South African flag. But hopefully, things will change. Things will change. As a patriot, you love seeing the South African flag in the world stage, and having the best of the best representing us. And he's definitely that. No hate for people in Mozambique. I'm sure a lot of them are probably saying, hey, he chose to fly under our flag. Keep your Springboks and Proteas. We have Ghazi. But yeah, I think it is what it is. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, News and Views continues after this.